let's put together a couple of pieces of playground equipment. In this first video, I will show the, let's do the crawling tube, let's do the teeter-totter or seesaw, and let's do the balance beam. And I think I will begin with the crawling tube. I'm going to go ahead and get on my front view and just begin by drawing a couple of circles that share the same center point. And if you remember, the word we use for that sharing the same center point is concentric. C-O-N-C-E-N-T-R-I-C, concentric. So I will begin by just drawing a circle. And because I want this circle to kind of lay on the ground, I'm not going to start at the origin. I'm just going to start up above a little bit. We can always move it later, though. So stretch out a circle. That looks pretty good. By the way, if you are feeling like your drawings are jumping too much to specific dimensions, come up to the magnet area and uncheck grid. The snap to grid is useful at times, but you might be finding it a little frustrating right now, so I have gone ahead and turned mine off. You can always turn it back on if it bugs you. All right, so I need a second circle, and I can either draw it out here someplace and kind of guess on the size, and then, drag it into position. That works, that's fine. Or I could pick, of course, one circle and then the second, and then I could use my concentric constraint. That would do it, although depending which one you pick first, it may jump to where you don't want it to go. Usually on this one, though, I just go ahead and put my pencil right on the center point of the first circle, stretch out a second circle. That way I can kind of eyeball what I'm looking for. Remember, what we're doing here is making a crawling tube. The metal that actually makes the tube is probably not very thick, so I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to go ahead and stretch it out, something like that. What I really want to do now is just stretch the ring, right? I want to stretch this part of it. I don't want to stretch in here. So I'm going to go to 3D view and zoom in a little bit so I can tap just that outer ring. And then I will go ahead and stretch it out. You get to decide here how long you want your tube to be. So I'll do something like that. Now you could stop right here, obviously. That's a crawling tube. But a few of you have punched some holes through the side. I think that's kind of a fun look. Those holes can really be any shape. So let's go ahead and just show how to do that as a review. I'm going to get on my right side, and I'm just going to draw. I'll start with a circle for my first hole. So I'm just going to put a circle right in about this space. I know it's a curved surface, but I'm not actually going to try to draw on it. I just want to draw, basically next to it. So we'll put a circle there. Okay. Now if we go to 2D view or 3D view, we'll see that that circle actually is back here. That's fine, because what we really want to do is just pull that circle through. Notice when we get to the edge, the circle itself goes away, and we start making a hole. So I'll just go ahead and punch that through. Okay, come back to the right side. So this hole really could be any shape, right? I could grab instead my my polygon tool, and I could punch a pentagon, right? Or a hexagon or an octagon. Doesn't really matter. Right? I can punch anything through here. And maybe we can do a better job of getting that centered. And then again, we will come around over here and click on that and punch it on through. Notice if I stop right there, it only went halfway through, but I can go ahead and keep grabbing that blue arrow and bring it on through. Okay, so there we have a crawling tube. And just want to show something here in my my items, my layers. Some of you have been getting a little annoyed that you're getting a long list of things here, right? Especially as you make more and more pieces. If you tap on one of these, it highlights over here what it is, right? So the body is the actual tube, the sketch plane here is that side circle, and maybe it was the front circle actually. Sketch plane 2 has these two punch holes, but really all three of these items, and they're all selected, right? So 1, 2, 3, they're all part of the tube. So I'm going to drop down here to my folder icon. That puts them all into a folder. Right? I can actually tap on this folder and then come down here to my 3 dots, and I can say rename item. And then I'm just going to move my cursor over and delete folder 01 and instead type in tube. Okay, so that's my first shape. And if these drawing planes bug you, right? Remember, you can open up your folder and you can turn off the sketch planes. That way it's just kind of a cleaner look. Okay. All right, very good. Let's do, oh, I don't know. Let's do the seesaw, the teeter-totter next. There's so many ways you guys could do this. I mean, there are loads, right? Some teeter-totters are balanced on a tube. Some are just on a point. I'm going to make mine really simple. You guys might do much more interesting things than I'm going to do. I'm just going to make a triangular base with the point facing up, and then balance a board on top of that, much like you might do if you were kind of trying to make something at home. Go back to our front view. And I'm just going to draw the profile, make my items go away here for a second. I'm just going to draw the profile of a triangle. So grab my line tool. I like to use that. And I'm just going to go, oh, I don't know. I'm just going to go up a little bit. Come back down, trying to go at about the same angle. And then connect those, whoops, and then connect those across the bottom, something like that. And if we go to 3D view, we'll just kind of stretch that out a little bit. Not too far, something like that. So that's what I'm going to balance my board on. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the board. For that, I think I'll use the rectangle tool. And I'll just put it here on the side of it. Notice what I did there. I had my my grid going up and down, so I just tapped on the ground. So grab my rectangle and just stretch out what looks like a pretty good rectangle, and then lift it just the thickness of a board, something like that. Okay. Then I want to put my rectangle up on top of my point. So I'm just going to use, real simple here, I'm just going to use the move arrows. So we'll bring it up, bring it over. Looks like it needs to come up a little bit farther. Maybe we can get a side view here. Yep, looks like it should come up a little bit farther. Yeah, right there. Not too picky on this. And I don't feel like that's quite centered, right? Just slide it back and forth a little bit. Looks like it should go a little farther. Not sure why it doesn't want to move. Yeah, whatever. If it's happy there, I'm happy there. All right, so there's my teeter-totter. I'm actually going to try to do a little course here. So I think what I'll do is get on my top view and select this whole thing, right? And then just slide it over so that it is kind of, I'm not really sure what's going on here, guys. For some reason, it's not wanting to move everywhere I want it to go. Out of bounds. Interesting. I don't feel like I'm in that big of a space here. There we go. Maybe I was just trying to drag it too far too fast. I don't know. So put it about like, it still says out of bounds. All right, let's just go with that. At this point, I feel like my tube is probably way too big for my my teeter-totter. So I'm going to select the tube. And I'm going to use the scale option, right? That's right here. Looks like a wire box with a box inside of it. And remember, I can do uniform or non-uniform. I'm going to go uniform so everything changes together, and just bring this down. Get it so it's closer to the right size. Okay. And then again, if I want to make sure that things aren't blocking my view, right, I can turn off all my sketch planes. Right. I might need to now bring this back down toward the ground. If I get on front view. Nope, that's pretty much on the ground. Good. And what I'm looking at is the bottom of my circle and that line. Okay. So that looks good. And right now I'm in my my tube folder. So I'm going to go ahead and close that by hitting the arrow. And now I've got these other three shapes here, right? Body 2, that's my triangular base. Sketch plane, that's where my rectangle came from for my board. And body 3. So I'm going to select all those and put them in a folder. And I'm going to rename that folder. And I'm going to select it, rename it, and I'll call that Seesaw. Okay. And I think I want to turn off that plane, so we'll hit the eyeball on that. Good. All right. Oh, let's do a balance beam. And for this one, I think I'm going to use the align tool. This is really bugging me. I want to see if I can move that base over just a little bit. There. I don't know why it was out of bounds earlier, but I like that better. Okay, good. So now I think I will draw a balance beam. Remember, the requirements of the balance beam were that it's up off the ground. So I'm going to begin on top view, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a little block of wood that my beam will sit on. So we'll close our items for a second, grab our drawing tools. I'm just going to grab a rectangle and just draw a little block of wood. And I think I'll go ahead and raise that up a touch. And I don't really want to draw a second one and try to get it the same size, so I'm going to select the whole thing and hit copy and just slide a block down. And again, I'm getting that out of bounds. I don't know why. I don't feel like I'm really that far away. All right, I'll do some research on that, try to figure out what's going on. Okay, now I need a board to go across for my actual balance beam, so I will again grab a rectangle and just draw it here on the ground. Make this one kind of narrow. I want it to be a little challenging. And go ahead and pull that up. Now I'd like this balance beam to sit on top of those boards. I'm going to use my align tool for that. And let's see how this works. So I will begin by clicking the bottom of the balance beam and the top of, let's try doing the top, just top of one of the boards. The align tool is right here. I'll tap that. And there we go. Now if you select yours in the opposite direction, for example, let's say you picked the block first and then the board, and hit align, you might not like the fact that the block moved to the board. So what we're learning here is click the one last that you want to have stay put. So because I want my block to stay put, I'm going to click the board first and then the block. So hit align. And then you'll probably want to use your arrow and just kind of center that, something like that. Okay. So what we have is a, oh, and then we got to hit our checkbox. Thanks. So we've got our balance beam. Good. Back to items. And you can see I've got my two folders, tube and seesaw. I've got a body piece, a body piece, and a body piece. And I'm going to go ahead and put those in a folder. And I'm going to call that folder beam. Oops, delete all of it. And then beam. And done. I noticed that my sketch planes are still there. I don't really know why, because I don't see any sketch planes here, but yeah, I don't want to turn those off. So we'll just go with it. Not that big a deal. All right, there's my first 3 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video and make another video for the next piece of playground equipment.